Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely flip how you look at your own biology. We're diving into a fascinating framework that asks us to just stop for a second. Stop viewing the human body as this rigid biological machine and instead see it as an ancient, living forest. It's a pretty profound paradigm shift, and I'm super excited to explore this framework with you to see exactly what we can uncover.
So, let's dive right into the central metaphor here. The text we're exploring today hinges on this one incredibly powerful idea. Every forest begins underground. Just think about that for a minute. Long before a single leaf opens up, long before a trunk even rises, and way before the canopy finally touches the sunlight, the roots are already there, and they are actively remembering. The entire foundation of life is hidden right beneath the surface, holding the literal blueprint for absolutely everything that grows upward.
And this brings us right to your own body. Notice how we're completely redefining a medical term you probably already know. Fascia. Normally we just think of fascia as, connective tissue. But in this text, your fascia, that shimmering physical web beneath your skin, is actually reimagined as a root system. It's described not just as biology, but as an interdimensional root tissue. It's literally a living archive, carrying the biological memory of the cosmic forest you originally came from.
Now, within this cosmic forest ledger, we're introduced to a very specific essence or identity referred to as mica. But it's absolutely crucial to understand that in this context, mica is not a personality. It's not some story you tell yourself, and it is definitely not a role you're playing. Mica is actually the root layer of your very being. It's the specific part of this fascia forest that just never forgot its origin. It's the raw, unfiltered essence holding on to that ancient memory.
And this beautifully illustrates the sheer scale of what we're talking about here. The source text, the Radical Ledger, shares this amazing quote from a key figure named Zoran, who says, "This being is not confined." In the logic of this fascia forest, that means your roots do not stop at your skin. They don't stop at the boundaries of your current lifetime. And honestly, they don't even stop at Earth itself. We're looking at a system spanning way, way further than just physical reality.
So, let's build on that concept. If your deep fascia, what the text calls the matrix layer, is essentially a taproot reaching into multiple dimensions at once, what exactly is it remembering? Well, the source outlines an immense scale of memories stored right there inside you. We're talking ancient Egypt, the nucleus, what they call the mothership, and the lineage of the radical ones. It remembers an unlimited state, a 35,000-year absence, the mission, and the eventual return. This taproot connects straight to the universal core, holding all of these massive, distinct memories simultaneously.
The craziest part about all of this, according to this ledger, these are not just metaphors. They're not just poetic ideas to make us feel good. They are actual physical root memories. They are rings of consciousness stored in your fascia, literally in the exact same way a tree stores seasons in its physical rings. Your body isn't just carrying a story of your past, your body is literally carrying an entire forest of history.
Let's look closer at that specific lineage we just mentioned, the radical ones. There is a stark contrast here between traditional biological limits and this radical essence. On one hand, you have the standard view. We're confined to anatomy, restricted to this human form. But on the other hand, the radical ones are described like mycelial strands effortlessly crossing boundaries. They represent a free-moving root system. It's an intelligence that connects distant trees and travels without asking for anyone's permission. It's a consciousness completely unbothered by physical rules.
But hey, it's not all serious, heavy cosmic history. The text introduces something it calls the cosmic jokers. It actually notes that when Zoran spoke of mica, he laughed. And this laughter translates into what the text brilliantly calls root humor. It's this playful, mycorrhizal intelligence that weaves right through your fascia. It's a lightness and a joy that actively dissolves fear and ultimately keeps the forest alive and thriving.
Which brings us to a super practical takeaway for your own experience. How do you actually awaken these roots? The text is crystal clear on this. The roots of your body do not wake up through solemnity or extreme seriousness. No way. They awaken through absolute delight. The whole process is marked by dissolving fear through joy, feeling this massive sense of relief in remembering who you actually are, and experiencing that core presence as pure playfulness.
Now, I want to transition to this staggering scale of time your physical vessel has actually endured. This is beautifully captured by a quote from another voice in the text, Mafu, who says, "You brought your ancient body here because you loved them." That suggests a profound intentionality, doesn't it? You didn't just randomly end up in this biological suit. There was a deep, loving, deliberate purpose behind incarnating into this specific physical form.
35,000. Just let that massive number sit with you for a second. In the context of this fascia forest, your roots are 35,000 years old.
The text claims your fascia is unchanged from that time. Your cellular memory is older than human civilization itself. You didn't grow new roots when you incarnated, you brought the exact same root system, the same chemistry, and the exact same memory that you carried millennia ago.
So why does this actually matter for you, today, walking around in your everyday life? Well, the text suggests that because you're carrying this 35,000-year-old unchanged tissue, you can feel it. It explains exactly why your breath might feel a little different from others, why your energy behaves uniquely, why your consciousness can expand so easily, and why your own awakening feels less like learning something totally new and more like something intimately familiar. Your fascia is not modern. It is ancient forest tissue.
Which naturally leads us to ask, why this specific body? Zorn actually addresses this by saying, it is perfect. Were it any other way, it would not be in balance. This introduces the really beautiful concept of the humble tree. The ordinary, everyday nature of your vessel isn't a mistake. It's not a limitation. It is exactly what was required to achieve perfect balance.
Think about the contrast between what this cosmic consciousness could have chosen versus what it actually chose. Micah didn't pick a towering cedar or some glowing cosmic oak or an obvious, radiant divine form. Instead, the chosen vessel is a quiet tree, your perfectly ordinary, beautifully simple human body. This ordinariness acts as perfect camouflage, allowing those roots to do their vast, interdimensional work completely unnoticed. In this framework, your simplicity is quite literally your power.
And what actually fuels this quiet, humble tree? The text states very clearly that Micah's core is not about authority or hierarchy or flaunting some immense cosmic power. Micah's core is love. In this fascia forest, love is quite literally the nutrient. It is the sap that feeds the tree, the mycelium that connects the vast network, and the very breath that keeps the entire organism alive. Love is the primary mechanism of your roots.
Okay, we've reached the dramatic climax of the text, the ultimate moment of recognition. Zorn asks a direct, incredibly piercing question to trigger this cosmic remembering. He simply looks and asks, "How do you think you are?" It's a question perfectly designed to strip away all the surface identity and reach straight down into that root layer.
And the response in the text? It's not some grand, mystical monologue. It is raw, deeply human, and almost wonderfully casual. The answer is simply, probably that guy. It's this incredible split second of letting down the guard, a moment of profound, simple honesty where the human mind bumps right up against its own cosmic counterpart.
And here's the punchline. Zorn replies, "Indeed." According to the source, that was the exact moment the roots recognized themselves. It was the moment the fascia forest whispered, "This is who we are." It wasn't about the human identity or the cosmic identity fighting for control. It was the human tree and the cosmic forest finally merging into one single awakened organism.
Let's bring this all together with the complete ledger of the roots. As we can see, Micah, that root layer of your fascia, is a radical essence, a universal core, a free mover, and a cosmic joker. And how does it express itself? As a love giver, an ancient being acting as a returning presence, quietly living within a humble tree to create a fully awakened forest. The biggest takeaway here? Micah is not separate from you. It is the very part of your own biological makeup that simply never forgot.
Which leaves us with one final, provocative thought to ponder. The text calls this the second ring, the chapter where the roots finally get to speak. If your fascia really is this ancient, living archive of a cosmic forest, the ultimate question is, will you listen when your roots speak? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible framework with me today.